Cactus 1549, 700, climbing 5,000.
Cactus 1549, near departure to contact, climb, maintain 15,000. Cactus 1549, turn left heading 270.
This is Cactus 1539, hit birds through lost thrust on both engines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
In 2009, Captain Sully Sullenberger landed a crippled jetliner on the Hudson River after a bird strike killed both engines just after takeoff.
We can get it for you. Do you want to try to land 1013?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
The emergency landing became known as the Miracle on the Hudson.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus?
210, 2718. I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
If Captain Sullenberger can't keep the nose of the aircraft out of the water until the last second, the chances of survival are slim. He must also keep the wings perfectly level on impact. If one clips the water first, the plane will cartwheel down the river, breaking up along the way. Flight 1549 crash lands on the Hudson River.
It was the most intense crisis of my life. Although I've got to say that once we had landed, the sun low in the southwest was illuminating in stark relief the skyline of Manhattan immediately before us. And it was a brilliant image. That was the first moment of any kind of reflection at all, is that we had landed successfully and Manhattan was just right there, close enough almost to touch.
No engine, no time, no second chance. Captain Sullenberger did not rise to the occasion. He fell back on decades of practice, hours in the cockpit and thousands of hours in the simulator. The landing wasn't just luck, it was muscle memory. Captain Sullenberger saved 155 lives that day due to his training. So every day on a motorcycle, on a smaller scale, a similar scenario plays out. The car pulls out in front of a motorcycle, the curve is tighter than expected, debris litters the roadway. As a rider, you won't rise to the occasion when that car pulls out, the curve tightens, or the road throws something at you unexpected. You'll fall back on your training and practice, or lack of it. And if your last practice session was the MSF course you took 5 years ago, well, you've got a problem, because all of the skills you learned in that class are severely degraded. This week on MCrider, let's talk about why that regular practice isn't optional, and it's a difference between panic and precision, between crashing and walking away. So the question is, when your moment comes, will you have trained for it already? Now, the field guide features 16 practical exercises designed to sharpen your riding skills and prepare you for the moments that matter most on the road. You won't find any fluff in the field guide. The field guide won't teach you how to drag a knee or to ride a wheelie on your motorcycle. It will provide the skills, if practiced, that can save your life. Some of the skills found in the field guide are foundational and should be a part of every practice session. Among those are U-turns, swerving, and emergency stops. People are often surprised when U-turns are a core skill that riders should practice. The ability of performing a U-turn is not the primary value of practicing that skill. The value of the U-turn comes from the fundamentals that performing a U-turn requires. Things like good clutch and throttle control, head and eye placement, looking where you want the motorcycle to go, and basic motorcycle control and the confidence that it builds by developing that control are all needed to become proficient at making a motorcycle U-turn. So these fundamentals translate directly to many other skills needed on a motorcycle, and the U-turn is a great exercise that forces the rider to develop all of those skills in a single low-risk exercise. The next two exercises, swerving and emergency braking, are avoidance techniques that are mandatory skills for a street rider. There are other important skills, particularly cornering, that are huge, But to some degree, I have control over cornering. I can ride slower and lessen the cornering skills that I need on a given road at any particular road. This is not always ideal, but I do have control over the speed at which I'm riding that translates directly to the cornering skills I need to get around a corner. However, I don't have control over a car pulling in front of me or a child or animal running out into the street. That's why I list swerving and emergency braking slightly ahead of a cornering skills, but if I were to add a fourth mandatory skill to this list, it would be without a doubt cornering, so don't disregard that in your practicing either. But it's important to understand that swerving or emergency braking are an either-or skill that hopefully results in the same outcome, avoiding the hazards. I say they're either-or skills because you can't swerve and emergency brake at the same time. You have to make a choice. You're either going to swerve or you're going to emergency brake. Combining the two is likely to result in a crash. The only exception to this is an exercise called the brake and escape, which is found on page 18 of the field guide. That teaches you to brake first, then scrub some speed off, and then release the brakes in order to swerve and avoid the hazard. So this exercise combines swerving and emergency braking in the same technique, the same avoidance technique, but they're never performed at the same time during the maneuver. You're either braking or you're off the brakes and you're swerving. You know, we're right at the end of the month of May, and May is always Motorcycle Awareness Month in the U.S., and it's important for cars to be aware of motorcyclists on the road, but it's more important for us as riders to maintain and brush up on our skills. So I encourage you to take a training class. That's always the best option. And if training is not readily available or you want more beyond that training class, practice on your own or with a group of other riders, and the field guide is an excellent resource to practice or to guide those training sessions. You can also get the field guide for free as a member of MCrider and get access to the forums with other expert riders who are on that same journey with you, developing their skills and being safer out on the road. You know, I've heard from a few people that they have no interest in membership because of the bad experiences that they've had on other forums. And I hear you. Forums and social media can be toxic. If you create a free resource and give everyone an equal voice, the most divisive voices are quickly going to raise the most attention until the whole system becomes a bunch of noise and is totally useless. But the MCrider forums are a different place. Everyone on the forums is a paid member, and they've invested in making the forums a great place to talk about motorcycles and motorcycle skill development with none of the hate and drama found on the other free platforms. The forums and the people who are participants on the forums truly are the best part of MCrider, and they make it such a joy to be part of. So I hope you'll become a member and participate on the forums and get your free field guide, and especially get out on the parking lot and practice with it. I hope you'll also take a training class or buy a physical copy of the field guide or the new road strategy book, and make the month of May and April the month that you took control of your safety on a motorcycle. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a member of MCrider. You get access to the forums and the field guide and a whole lot more. All the details can be found at mcrider.com/member.